Howdy folks, and welcome to Stillwater. This is a game, as you can tell, it's a game that I'm very excited to play because it looks very, very good. And I found it while I was searching for all the Rachel draws this games like Elevator Hitch and Cold Front. And it looks very interesting. It's about a detective, we have to solve a case. I don't know, for some reason it gives me like Rusty Lake vibes. If you guys know this, Rusty Lake, kind of like that. But anyways, let's start. Ooh. There's actually options in here? Oh, man. Oh. Oh, I love this already. Blip? What is blip? It really... Oh, man. I love this so much. I love this already. Turn down the music just a bit. I've never been a big fan of listening to music in games. Like, it's... No matter how good it is. This alone gives it 2 stars already. Oh, man. You guys have no idea how happy I am because of it. Alright. What is this? Text. Auto forward time. Let's speed that up a little bit, you know. Text speed. Slow it down a little bit, you know, usual. Actually, let's keep that around like the middle. Guess it depends on how long the text boxes usually are. Toggle. Let's go full screen. Hey guys, I'm back. 2 different videos right now. I'll explain it a bit. I just wanted to test and see if that full screen was actually working, and it is. It looks good. Looks great. Looks good. This game's already like 3 stars. I mean, 2 stars. 2.5. Let's go with 2.5. Alright? Let's go. Let's start. This is a work of fiction. The resemblance to any real-life people is purely coincidental. This game contains depictions of horror, mature themes, violence, and strong language. Your discretion is advised. Let's go. Caretaker. I'm sorry, but I can't stay here anymore, Nina. I feel like I'm going crazy. Calm down. If we could just talk it out. So many strange things keep happening one after another. Every day there's this dang dripping sound. I thought it was just something leaking at first, but I check every faucet, every ceiling, everything, and still I hear it everywhere, constantly echoing in my ears. Please listen to me. Oh, but the water. That dang water. Water? Yes, it's everywhere. Pools of it are all over the house, and every time I try to mop it up, more will appear. There's no end to it. Ah, but it's at night. It's at night when it comes. What are you talking about? I hear someone or something walking along the hallways at night. Maybe it's just my grandfather. No, Nina, it's not him. I thought it was, but it's not. But I've seen it. That thing. I only glimpsed it once, but I'm more than certain that thing was not your grandfather. Ever since that night, I would lock my door and pray it would walk past my room. I don't know what's going on, but I swear it just keeps walking. Always walking on pools of water. I'm in, dude. Oh man, I'm in. Oh, I love this already. Jeez, I'm in. Sometimes I hear them randomly. Their steps are erratic and faint, but I can still hear them. Just this steady pace up and down the halls. But I think recently it's no longer like that. What do you mean? Every morning I follow to see where the wet footprints lead. It walks towards something more clearly than before. It would walk down the stair. It would walk down the halls. Climb the stairs, turn corners. All of it I'd follow. Eventually the trail would come to a stop. It would all stop right by your grandfather's room. His room. If this is some sick joke to scare me away, then please stop. It's not a joke, Nina. I meant it when I said there's something wicked going on in this house. That can't be true. I know this is a lot, but you have to believe me. I can't stay here any longer. I'm sorry, Nina. It's okay. I understand. Thank you for taking care of my grandfather up until now. And I'm sorry for all the stress I've caused you. I'll be sure to pay you right away as soon as Nina, listen to me. I don't know what's happening around here, but... The woman on the phone cautiously looks around, turning her head constantly back and forth, looking over her shoulder to find if any others listening in. She grips the phone so close to her ear in a vice-like grip, before speaking again in a hushed tone. Something terrible is lurking in this house. I don't know what it is. But please, as soon as you get back, take your grandfather and just leave this place. Leave? I can't just leave everything behind. We have nowhere else to go. Please, Nina, this place is not safe. The rumors, they're true. The curse is real. My family is not cursed. But Nina, at this rate, you and your family will... Enough! A pause. Cold and sharp tenseness strains the call as both women, exhausted and stressed beyond their comfort, try to stifle their growing frustrations towards one another. This game goes so hard already, man. I'm in love. Neither yielding to the other's thoughts, only leaving anger and hurt to fester through the silence. After what seems like a suffocating stillness, Nina finally sighs heavily and responds bluntly to the caretaker. Look, I don't know what you heard or saw, but I can't just leave things like this. Whoever or whatever they are, they will answer to me. I won't let them have their way. I don't have time wasting my energy on this stupid curse. So, if you can't help me, then so be it. I'll find a way. Nina, my grandfather's all I have left. He's all I have left. Oh! Is the grandfather? Diner, 7 a.m. Yo, I'm in. Amid a foggy morning, there sits a man by a corner of a booth. He drinks black coffee and, depending on his mood, occasionally orders a donut. But today it was just black coffee. Ugh. Hugo. I swear I've never seen that amount of paperwork in my life. A freaking mountain worth of it. You're a valuable member of our team, Hugo. My foot. Starting to believe that I was bamboozled into joining their agency. Hugo Laurent, age 30, takes a good look at his cup of joe and chugs it all in one sitting. He then continues to grumble to himself about last night's grueling work at the office. I really need to find a different job. As he contemplates his poor life choices, he looks out towards the early mist. There's something inherently terrifying about the fog to him, how it engulfs everything and nothing. Even if it disappears, it always leaves behind traces, proof of it remaining. Even in a quaint little town like this, I can't even run from my fate, I guess. Small town? I'm in. I'm in. Dude, I love this game already. Hugo finally stares at the compiled newspaper clippings he put together. Some of them from recent events, but mainly all are past headlines and missing persons cases. No matter how many times I see this, it's all still just as hard as looked at. My bad, guys. Sorry, I can't talk. I don't know what's going on. Fixating case after case, he can't help but remind himself that there's a reason for all of this. Do you hear the sax in the background, Hugo? Do you feel it? Do you feel it? Do you feel the saxophone? An all too personal reason. It may not even be a saxophone. Maybe I'm just dumb. Seeing strange things come with a price. In the end, I'm the one doing this to myself. Sounds rough. Mind if I join? Kuya? Suya? Kuya? Kuya? An annoying familiar voice interrupts his train of thought. He slowly looks up to see the one responsible, though reluctantly. Oh, he looks silly. Good morning, Hugo. Hugo scowls and turns away from him. He then gathers the files and shoves it back into the binder. Meanwhile, the tall man takes this as an initiative and sits at the opposite end of the booth. They're in love. They're in love, by the way. He greets the waitress passing by and orders himself the hefty body breakfast special with an extra plate. Big boy! As usual, the waitress is happy to oblige and goes back to the counter to relay his order. The man then looks back at Hugo, sees the empty cup and the now jumbled newspaper clippings, all the while Hugo is trying to ignore him. You really should eat something with that black coffee. Not ordering any donuts today? I'm fine, Noah. Just not in the mood, okay? Not even a little. There's momentary silence between them before Noah disturbs it once more. Not too bad for you. I ordered a big breakfast for the two of us. Two? As if the world would grace Noah with an even more perfect punchline, the food arrives. Why the heck did you order for the two of us? Just to eat what you want to eat. Don't worry about me. Wow. Thank you so much for this. Dude, thank you so much. Because I suck at pronouncing. Wow. Mukeng Masara. Mukeng? Please tell me I said that right, even with the pronunciation. Right, Hugo? Are you even listening to me? Come on, we both know that if you don't eat now, who knows when you will. And I'm not about to let you faint again. So open wide. Noah de Leon, age 27, a natural-born charmer. is also the only person in the world who lovingly threatens him to eat every day. Aww. It's actually really cute. They're so sweet. They're so sweet. With a pensive look, Hugo finally gives in and eats the generous spoonful without further complaints. It's good. Right? Good food will always help cheer you up. Dang him. Got swept away again. Wait, are they actually in love? Aw! Please don't die. They're gonna die. Oh, by the way, the chief will be out for a business trip. She mentioned it'll be for a couple days. When did she tell you this? I didn't hear anything about it. Yesterday, I think? Yesterday? She told me to sort out the cabinets yesterday. She didn't even mention anything about a business trip. Guess it was a pretty sudden one. Well, I mean, she did tell me to tell you. And lucky me, I know where you go every morning. You know what? I'm not even surprised anymore. Well, what do you want to do? We technically have the day off. I'm gonna head back to the office. There's a couple of boxes and get the chance to sort out. In that case, I'll come with you. Why? I should just rest for the day. Pass up this opportunity to get you know you better, Kuya? Quit it. After their enlightening banter, two of them finish their breakfast, pay for their meals, and head to Hugo's car. As Noah opens the door into the passenger seat, he notices a bloodhound sleeping outside. Little guy! Bloodhounds are so silly. They look like grumpy police officers. The big dog stirs at the sound of the car opening and lazily stares at Noah. I'm sorry, big guy. He then closes the door while trying not to make too much noise to disturb its occupant. Colby. At the sound of his name, his heavily lidded eyes suddenly peek to see who calls out for him. Oh, he's our dog! I'm in love. It is his one and only partner, human. As if finally realizing who he is or where he is, the old bloodhound starts up from his sleep, pounces at Hugo, and proceeds to wag his tail uncontrollably. Good morning again, Colby. Had a nice nap? Colby, 8 years old, Hugo's most faithful and loving partner in crime, has the biggest tendency to just sleep all over the place. Noah, who is witnessing all this from the back seat, chuckles to himself. He is amazed and slightly defeated at Hugo's sudden surge of energy. Doesn't matter how many times I try. When it comes to boosting up his mood, no one can beat Colby. They're so cute. The three head back to the office. The space is just the same as Hugo left it. Decent, organized mess. To his credit, the amount of boxes he painstakingly went through, he believes he did a fair job, albeit it could have been better. Wow, you really outdid yourself, Hugo. It looks less crowded. Shut it, will you? I said I was going to get to it. Thanks, boy. Before Hugo could continue to give deserved head pats, he notices someone. A woman stands timidly peering outside from the storefront. She looks a bit frantic, and even more restless with her disheveled and ill-fitted clothes, drawing emphasis to her already too visible petite frame. The woman tries to grasp the door handle several times, but stops before she can touch it. Her brow is furrow, agitated and distressed about something. So much to the point is preventing her from just simply reaching out for help. However, when she finally makes eye contact with Hugo, she immediately rushes in. By what? I'm so sorry. I know that the closed sign is up, but I saw you come in and Are you alright, miss? I need your help. My grandfather, Before she can continue explaining, Noah swiftly cuts in front of Hugo and intervenes, in all too practiced manner. It's okay, miss. We'll hear what we have to say. So please, why don't you sit right over there? Noah gestures to one of the empty seats at the other side of the office. The poor woman hesitates for a moment. She clutches desperately to the strap of her purse, her eyes focusing apprehensively on them and at the gestured seat. After mulling over Noah's offer, she quickly glances back and nods. The woman then walks towards the corner of the room and sits at the edge of the sofa. Her posture is wary and tense, giving no sign of comfort for even this brief moment of peace. Can you start off by telling us your name? I apologize for earlier. I'm usually a bit more composed than this, but I guess I'm feeling it that too. My name is Nina Mortimer. Ah, hello, Miss Nina. My name is Noah De Leon. I'm one of the assistants here. The big guy next to you is our lovely assistant, Colby. And that one brooding over there is Private Investigator Hugo Laurent. I'm not brooding, I'm just tired. And our chief is away on business, but I think we can still accommodate you. So, how can we help, Miss Nina? Just for a moment, Nina appeared a bit more lax, more hopeful, maybe even relieved from this warm welcome. However, she once again tenses up. The guilt and shame come rushing back to her, visible by the creases of her brow as she once again realizes why she's here. I need help watching over my grandfather tonight. Tonight? Yes, I know this is a strange request, but my hands are tied on this. It has to be tonight. I'm sorry, Miss Nina, but I don't quite understand. Is your grandfather in any danger? I think someone's trying to take him away. Take him? Miss Nina, I think you should contact the police right away. They're far more equipped to handle this kind of situation. No, they're not! I've tried requesting their help, but they've given me the same answer verbatim for weeks now. They would send someone out to watch over the manor for the entire day, but by the end of their routine, they would always report back nothing unusual. They saw no one else leaving or arriving at the house other than me or the caretaker. Despite telling them all in detail about the letters and all the strange things that's happening, there's nothing they can do about it, but just sit around until it escalates even more. I can't wait any longer. Any more of this, then it'll all be too late. If only I knew who Luis was. Luis? Louis? Louis? Luis. Louis? 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 I'm gonna go with Louis. Yeah, Louis. She lets out a gasp. Her hands shot out to cover her mouth, realizing she had said too much so carelessly. She tries to avert her gaze, but Hugo stares persistently at her. Miss Nina, who is Louis? Are they the ones causing all this? Once more she contemplates. Her brows knit closely together as she bites her lips nervously. It's as if the words she wanted to say have suddenly died out too. Suddenly died out, too heavy to even start. What is going on? It's currently like 2:30 a.m. It's snowing. A mistake she can't take back. Before the silence stretches further, Noah speaks to Nina with a gentle and reassuring tone. Miss Nina, I know it's all scary. All of the things you've mentioned to us are so far no one should ever have to experience, especially by themselves. And I assure you, we'll listen to all of it. I promise. Wild and manic eyes search deeply at them, trying desperately to discern any doubt or mistrust on their faces. However, all she sees are people who are willing to give their time and simply listen to her, to actually help her. From this alone, Nina looks to the side where her purse is and opens it. Tucked inside one of the pockets, she takes out a single, lightly crumpled envelope with pigmented red wax sealed pressed in the middle. At a glance, Hugo can tell right away that this letter appears to be a bit more worn out and antique. And yet, despite its delicate form, it remains well preserved, well kept. It's as if the letter itself was untouched by time, forever waiting to be opened. Grandfather has been receiving cryptic letters for the past month now. The letters didn't come with an address to the name of the sender, but this one is different from the rest. This had the name Louis on it. As she hands over the letter, Hugo notices her hand slightly shaking. Nina is still avoiding his gaze, but he knows she's trying in earnest. Before he can reach out his hand, he senses it. A faint shift in the room, unnoticeable to the others, but all too glaringly clear to him. There's something very wrong with this letter. Suddenly, Hugo recoils his hand away in pain. The being struck with something sharp, so spontaneously, so memorable, that even if the pain disappears within seconds, a hint of it remains. Something so small akin to a prick from a nose's thorn. A nose's thorn. Or more like a paper cut. Are you alright? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. No, it's fine, Miss Mortimer. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Hugo stares squarely at the cut. A thin red line starts to form slowly at the top of his index finger, trailing down and stopping just above the first crease. A red so clearly visible it's taunting. That doesn't look like a normal paper cut to me. Let me get you a band-aid. It's fine, no, I don't need one. But really, it's fine. Doesn't even hurt that much. Noah takes one good look at him before sighing exasperatedly, jeez, and sitting back down in his chair, still eyeing Hugo's hand. Hugo shrugs and returns his attention back to the letter, but this time, luckily nothing happens. For it to reach all the way out here with just a letter alone is truly terrifying. Carefully, he removes the content of the envelope and unfolds it. At first, it looks like any normal written message. A person named Louis is asking the other, Henry, to come meet him by the lake at midnight, needing to share something important with him. However, what's eerily striking about this is not the letter itself. Appearing at the bottom of the page, a message scrawled, unlike the rest, stands visibly out to Hugo. A message that shouldn't be there. Remember our promise, Henry. Another Henry. Indie games love the name Henry. When did you receive this letter? Yesterday? And your grandfather? Where is he right now? He's currently back at the house with the caretaker. I promised them I wouldn't be out for too long. I made an agreement with them, you see. Oh, what sort of agreement? The caretaker we have now agreed to watch over my grandfather, but only during the day. Before nightfall, they would leave at exactly the same time. Before nightfall? I wanted to believe that this whole thing was an elaborate scheme to scare my family away. I know this sounds crazy, but at one point I thought everyone was in on it. The mail carriers, the police, the caretakers. Everyone had a hand in making our family suffer. But this one was different. Up until now, I've never heard of anyone by that name. Not a relative or a family friend. But they clearly know who grandfather is. If I don't do something about this, I'll lose him too. Just by uttering the words alone, Nina begins to break down. The stress, the anxiety, the fatigue, all of it was finally catching up to her. Her body hunches forward, her hands pressed close to her eyes as she tries to cover the stream of tears running down her face. As an act of comfort, Colby sits closer to Nina, while Noah fetches tissues for her. Hugo, on the other hand, is puzzled. Rock raise eyebrow medium. Editing Sharky, insert that on his face. Thank you. She said this whole thing has been going on for the past month, but something doesn't add up. Before nightfall, I think there's more to this that she's not admitting. Whatever happened with the letter, I'm more than certain that whoever or whatever Louis is, they're coming for blood. Taking the case, obviously. We need to play the game. Do you want more tissues? We'll do it. We'll take on your case. For a moment, everything goes still. Their eyes and attention are solely directed at Hugo, whose eyes have a certain glint to them, now unwavering and more determined than ever. Before anyone else speaks, Nina stands up, wipes away any stray tears from her face, and walks up to him. You'll take it? Hugo simply nods. Thank you. Thank you. You don't know how much this means to me. We're glad to help, Miss Nina. Please call me Nina. Well, Nina, we'll do our best. Nina smiles at Hugo and Noah in gratitude. Her eyes renew with a faint gleam, a hope that maybe things will change for her and her family for the better. However, before heading out, Nina reaches into her bag once more. She takes out a small piece of paper and a pen and hastily starts jotting down something. I best be on my way now. I'll let grandfather know ahead of time you'll be coming. 497. Is that a 6 or a 0? I think that's 0. It's an address. We don't need it. Also, this is my... Yeah, there it is. I'll be sure to greet you all when you arrive. And thank you again, truly. She politely bows to them and walks out of the office, already reaching into her purse for her car keys. Hugo watches from his desk as she goes to open the driver's seat. Nina looks back at the office window and takes one last look at Hugo. She smiles at him slightly before pulling out of the parking lot and driving off. Oh, that's how they entered that. Mean you? What is wrong with me? Jesus. Once out of sight, Hugo turns to look at his cluttered desk. Still messy, but presentable. Guess I have to sort these out later again. Car, 5:30 p.m. From the ongoing downpour to the quiet hums of the car, they sit in silence. Still miles off their destination, Hugo constantly checks the rear mirror to see any passing cars. But it was only them on the road. Noah, who usually chats his ear off by now, leans quietly against the car door as he looks out the passing streetlights, reserved and distant. He hasn't said a word to Hugo since they left the office. Hey, you're a lot quieter than usual. What's wrong? What a surprise. You been looking at me, Kuya? If I say Kuya one more time, I swear to God. No, you idiot. You usually just talk a lot, that's all. So do you miss me talking? Just say it. Do you believe her story? What? Given all the things she's told us, do you think she's telling the truth? Yes, I believe her. Or at least, I believe she hasn't lied to us. You know, I can't shake this feeling that she's hiding something. Like if she left out certain details on purpose. Also, why'd she have to travel this far out of town for a private eye? Surely there must have been another far closer to the home than ours. I just don't know how to explain it. As expected of you, Hugo. Are you making fun of me? No, not at all. Just admiring your observations. I didn't want to offend Nina earlier, so I kept quiet until she finished. But her last name caught me off guard. You heard about the Mortimers? They're a pretty distinguished family that owns an esteemed fishing company. They own the fish? I need to go to bed. Well, they used to, I believe. They have yet to name it. They have yet to name an heir. What do you mean? Shouldn't it naturally go to Nina? It should, but I don't know. From what I heard, each time they try to name a successor, that relative mysteriously disappears. She's killing them. Mystery solved. Let's drive home. Come on. Let's drive home and kiss. Let's kiss at the scary parts. I am a Nugo shipper? Or what's a better name? Because Nugo is not a very good name. It's a very bad name. Hugoa. Let's go with Hugoa, man. Gone without a trace, or so anyone thought. Their bodies would soon turn up months after. And you know what's strange? All of them have been labeled as accidents by local news. No foul play, just another unfortunate loss for the family. They've been struck with many tragedies that, over time, people began to believe they were cursed or something. Cursed. I think I can understand why she wouldn't go to the police again. Most likely how she was seeing things that went along with the procedures just to keep face. But deep down, they must have thought she had gone mad. Can't imagine all this for Nina. Most of all, who knows what we'll find there. Is that why you decided to come with me? Well, partially. I'm more worried about you, though. Me? Why? Think of it this way. I'm the appointed driver. When you decide to do some pretty reckless crap, I'll be there to drive you to the local hospital. Ugh. Besides, 2 is better than 1. Exactly. I was fine with Colby coming with me. They brought him! Yes! Well, have you heard that 3 is better than 2? Ugh. Mortimer Estate, 6 p.m. Passing through countless dirt roads and steep cliffs, the estate can finally be seen beyond the evergreen. Nestled away from prying eyes, it stands tall, magnificent, and classic. Truly a rarity only afforded to the privileged. And yet, with all its opulence, it looms from a distance. Hugo and Noah could only gaze at the sheer scale of the manor. Its grand stature topples easily over the dozens of houses they drove past. Wow, look at the size of it. That's what she said. I could never imagine seeing a house like this in person. You don't have to imagine anymore. It's almost too surreal. Clemence's waiting for us. Immediately after you exit the driver's seat, a sudden sharp pain weighs heavily on Hugo's chest. Grasping tightly at his coat, he begins to gasp for air. His vision hazes as he leans close to the car, trying desperately to ground himself. Like a fish drawn on the sea, he desperately heaves. The air in his lungs escaping too quickly burns as he feels starting to strain, drawing tighter the more he breathes. But his pain pales in comparison to a feeling far more excruciating. Is it the house? No. Something far more sinister. He feels it. Someone's watching him. A piercing gaze fixed on him. Like leering at a bug and waiting to strike. We'll be together soon, Henry. What the heck? Dang it already! I need to hurry or else. Hey, are you alright? Noah calls out to him, snapping out of his fixated trance. Colby nudges his head against Hugo, whining with concern over his partner's well-being. What a good boy. Did you hear that just now? Hear what? That voice. It was so close to my ear. Is everything alright? Oh, I'm fine. Don't mind me. Just a little bit winded out from the trip, that's all. I'd be happy to make you tea at the very least. If it's no trouble. No, not at all. It's the least I can do. Once again, this subtle uneasiness from Nina's surfaces. But before Hugo could get a chance to look further into it, she walked off towards the front porch without saying another word. Are you sure you're alright? You sound like you were choking earlier. I said I'm fine. Besides, we're already here. We can't go back now. Listen to me. I think you should know. Abruptly cuts his lecture short as he notices Nina stopping by the front door. She stands by the door silently, contemplating something. Just like before, but this time she seems even more anxious. Whatever unease she tried to mask earlier became more apparent the minute they walked close to the front door. I haven't been quite honest with you, Detective. Just like before, as if carefully choosing her next words, she decides that in this situation words are not enough. You'll see for yourselves what I mean. And with that, Nina enters the house, leaving the three to follow her behind. Hugo was about to enter through the foyer when he feels a tug on his arm. Don't forget what I told you. Something happens, let me know right away. You'll be the first to know. And with that, Noah releases his grip on Hugo. He's so caring. He's so boyfriend material. They proceed to head in, not knowing what waits them beyond the door. Grinning with a brightly lit hallway, Hugo notes immediately that the interior is just grand. Adorned with floral accents and antique furnishing, the house itself exudes the word elegance. I should make some of them British, shouldn't I? I'll make Nina British, I guess. Hugo couldn't help but gape when he walked in. However, he noticed something even more distinct in the splendor. Behind the seemingly perfect veneer, an unsettling air wreathes throughout the house, leaving no room for doubt that the inside is far more terrifying than the outside. Please come this way. Bracing themselves, they enter the dimly lit drawing room. Is the Grandpa Henry? This guy looks way too young to be a grandpa. First glance, Hugo could not discern the silhouette situated at the far corner. Only the sparse lighting from a window pierces through the fraction of the room's darkness. However, as they approach close to the silhouette, Hugo now understands the reason for Nina's unsettling vagueness. Grandfather, we have guests. Sitting on the armchair is a very young man, not much older than Hugo or Noah. Oh! That's why... I knew it. I knew he looked younger. It's weird. He's dressed modestly and shares none of the imposing presence of the manor. No, rather, such a luxury does not even remotely reflect on the man before them at all. It's as if the flow of time had stopped only for him while the rest had continued, changing drastically without him. Just like the leather, timeless, delicate, and jarringly out of place. Letter. My bad. Staring only at the window, the young man sits there dazed, with little acknowledgement of the men around him, people around him. Still motionless, like a doll. Grandpa, these are the people I spoke of. This is Detective Laurent and his two assistants, Colby and Noah. They're going to help us. Yeah, I knew it's Henry. Even after introducing them to the head of the Mortimer estate, Hugo and Noah could not help but feel unnerved. The man before them is supposed to be frail and older than any of them, yet here he remains, forever unchanging, forever young. They've come a long way, so I'll be making some tea. Would you also like some, Grandpa? He does not reply back, nor does he glance at Nina or anyone else in the room. Only fixates his gaze on the rain, nothing else. I'll be sure to make a cup for you two. She then timidly gestures to Hugo and Noah back to the foyer. Bearing more questions, the two follow Nina outside. But before they can leave the drawing room, Hugo takes one last look at the young man. There's an all too familiar air about Henry Mortimer. His eyes, they're similar to his own. Whatever he must be longing for, Hugo knows it will never end well. Nina, that man. Yes, he's my grandfather. The one I asked you all to watch over. I know this is hard to believe, but Nina draws something out from her pocket. It's an old picture of a handsome man with slick back hair wearing the finest of suits. The gentleman in the picture has a different air to him, one of wealth and power, none of which reflects at all on the current Henry Mortimer. It's almost as if looking at two different people. This isn't much to go by, but believe me, they are the same person. Then why does he look so young? British silence. It happened a few nights ago. I was on my way to get a cup of water when I heard a loud thud coming from my grandfather's room. What? I'm so mean to British people, I'm sorry. I was worried that something fell over, so I went to go check. When I opened the door, I found him collapsed on the ground. I rushed to help him, but when I did, he looked so different. He wore the same clothes as my grandpa wore that night. And his face. I recognized his face. He looked younger. So many things were rushing through my head at the moment, and yet I knew he felt familiar to me. I know it sounds bizarre the more I talk about it, but that's what happened. That was also the same night I found that letter. It was next to him, already opened. I'm sorry again for all of this. No matter who I went to, they either said something was wrong with me or my family, with everything going on. Maybe they're right. The pools of water, the letter, Louis, and now this. I've been ignoring the signs for years and just blindly hoping things can get better if I try finding solutions on my own. But that's not enough anymore. Maybe my family is really cursed. No, they're not. Curses aren't real, detective. I think we easily get too involved in believing that sort of thing exists. In truth, the ones who fixate on it make it their reality. Curse of Edith Finch. The curse of Edith Finch. That's literally what happened. Because there's many theories that the curse isn't real. It's just Edith being It's just Edie being absolutely horrible and a neglectful parent, and just, generational trauma and all that good stuff. Rumors, doubts, lies, all those things are what they want to become real. Deep-rooted emotions like that can't possibly be healed or fixed right away. But like a curse, those emotions drag other people down with them. British exclamation points. Personally, I think you were caught up in all this, but I assure you we'll see this through. For you and Mr. Mortimer. Thank you. Good. Now our first priority is to find out more about Louis. Nina, the letter you showed us back at the agency, do you have it with you? Ah, yes, it's here. Do you mind if I borrow it for a bit? I'll be sure to give it back. Of course, but what are you going to do with it? I've searched everything on that letter, and I still couldn't come up with clues. I'll be using it as a reference, or guide, if you will. I'm afraid I can't discuss too much of the process, trade secret and all. Of course. I'll check upstairs, Noah. I'll check upstairs. Noah, you and Colby check the ground floor. Got it. Before they leave to do their own investigations, Hugo grabs a hold of Noah's shoulder. He leans in close enough for Nina not to hear. They're gonna kiss! They're gonna kiss, guys! Hugo, keep a close eye on Mr. Mortimer and Nina. Especially Nina. I don't want her to be dragged in any more than she already is. So whatever happens, keep her safe. Hugo, you... Fine, but remember, yell for me, okay? I know. Thank you, Noah. I'm counting on you. You too, boy. With a final nod to them, Hugo then goes towards the staircase and heads upstairs. Noah stares for a moment longer at Hugo's back before he disappears into the ground floor. He then turns to look at Colby. Well, it's time we get to work. Right, Colby? Investigations start. The objective is to look around the area for objects. Proceed story. Use the arrows of the arrow keys to move to a different area. Outlines will appear on a clickable object. On the top right is a hint button. Click it will highlight an object you missed. We're Noah right now. A large bookshelf stands close to the entranceway. It contains a couple of photo albums and a few phone books. A delicate arrangement of an old rotary dial telephone. Looks like it's still in good use. Woof woof. Give him all the pets. Mr. Mortimer still sits motionless by the corner of his room, his gaze never leaving the rain. What's this? Frames decorating the wall are covered in white sheets veiled with the thick lining of dust on top of each one. Wow, there's so many paintings covering the walls. Are there more like this all over the house? Yes, my grandfather commissioned many back in the day. He commissioned furry art, dude. We love Mr. Mortimer and his he's making money, okay? He's getting that back. We respect that. Making furry art, Mario art, we respect it. We love it. But sadly, he doesn't do that anymore. Nina, I can't help but notice the paintings are covered. How come? I did that. I covered them up for my grandfather's sake. For his sake? Yes, he was pretty obsessed with them, you see. There were times when he would mutter for himself and would just stare at the paintings for days on end. It worried me so much that I had to cover them all. Since then, he hasn't stared at any of them. He just sits quietly looking outside. I see. About the paintings, I also noticed they have a similar theme. They all had water in them. I know this isn't a coincidence, you've told us before, but if there's anything you know, anything at all, please tell me. Noah, can I ask you a question first? Sure, go ahead. Do you believe in mermaids? Under the sea. Under the sea. Mermaids? I don't suppose I do. Why? Casting her gaze to the floor, Nina anxiously fidgets and tightly clasps her hands together. She then briefly sighs and continues. Well, there's this story, or rather more like a fairy tale that my family's passed down. Fairy tale? Yes, well, it feels like one to me. It's about a fisherman who fell in love with a mermaid. Fish or sea? Every day and night, he would go out by the shore to gaze at her beauty, but one day she vanished, leaving him confused and heartbroken. Determined, he would sail many seas for a chance to see her again.
A person who thinks all the time has nothing to think about except thoughts.
Sailing from coast to coast, new lands beyond and back, he would go. Not long after, fortune followed him all throughout his journey. It made him one of the wealthiest and most highly respected in his village. In his village? That's it. Loser. However, despite all the wealth he gained through his travels, he never found the mermaid again. She would only be a dream, nothing more. And that's the end of the story. It doesn't end happily, but I guess there was a lesson behind all of it. I just never understood it. What do you think happened to the mermaid? I know it's an exaggeration, and yet I can't help but wonder. It's hard to say. I just feel bad for both of them. To be honest with you, I'm not a fan of sad endings. If it were me, I would wish the fisherman and the mermaid could see each other again. This is foreshadowing. It's not gonna have a happy ending, is it? It's not gonna be a happy ending. Or at least that's what I think. Even if they weren't meant to be with each other. Yeah, I think so, at least. I wouldn't want to imagine going through a journey all by myself. Stop, please let them have a happy ending, please. It's hard being alone. A journey all by myself. A journey all by yourself. Mortimer Estate, 11:30 p.m. After searching vigorously through each of the rooms, he knew his findings would eventually lead him here. This is it. Hugo walks towards the nearest lampshade and switches it on. Dimly illuminated, he sees the extent of how lavish this part of the house is. From the customized window drapes to the vintage furnishing, everything here exudes that extravagance. But much like the interior Hugo has seen so far, he finds this one in particular reeks of it. Plastered from wall to wall, a gloom lingers. It's as if the room itself is moldering despite its preserved nature. Ooh. A classic wooden chest lies at the foot of the canopy bed. Its lock still firmly holds, safeguarding whatever is inside. Atop the fireplace, unblemished and unmarked by time, hangs a curious and familiar painting of a beautiful woman floating on water. A leather-bound journal rests on the edge of the table. Its pages are turned out so haphazardly that the binding itself is starting to fall out. Scattered pieces of paper, all forgotten, lie waiting on the cold floor. Heavily etched markings are found scrawled all over the place of papers. A pristine pearl-white tea set sits patiently by, untouched and unused for quite some time. Is that it? Is that everything? Ooh. Oh! An old photo of lost time, a sweet summertime memory of a little girl with her beloved grandfather. Aww. That's sad. It must suck for people to have to, take care of the grandparents, just watch them get older and not be... Same thing with, their parents and stuff. It must be hard to do that. I'm not at that age yet, but I'm sure that once I do get that age where I have to take care of my parents, it's going to be really sad. A meticulously organized set of academic books ranging from nonfiction to geography are all on display. However, hidden away behind the vast collection are some children's fairy tales, all carefully kept. I need to hurry. I don't want to stay here for too long. Mortimer's Day, 11:50 p.m. 20 minutes later. What's this little guy doing? He searches and searches. And still there is no sign of Louis. To Hugo, even if there is a fragment, a singular thread to that person, to their real selves, he could find them. There's nothing. Not one thing pertaining to him. It's as if the thought of Louis barely exists at all. What is going on? Clearly sensed that presence before, but it's gone again. Dang it. I wish I had more time. No, calm down. It has to be here. I just need to focus. He ponders again, retracing every step and every little detail, hoping that he overlooked something. Yet all he knows is that the one tangible thing that connects him, that tethers him so closely to this space, and most of all to Henry, is the letter. Words of promise, of love, all delicately marked, all delicately etched onto a page, but tainted with a powerful and dark emotion that's been festering far too long. Tainted. From the very start of this, Hugo believed that whoever Louis was, they were the ones responsible. He thought that he could find them and convince them to stop their haunting for good, to bring them peace and to move on. However, that isn't the case anymore. The unnatural force that binds everyone so closely together in this family is not the cause of an angry spirit. No, it's something far more devious than that. As he takes the letter out from the envelope, he notices a change within. Bearing no foreboding thread at the bottom of the page, it looks just like a regular letter, or rather what it once was. A sad and tragic love. If you can't come, then I understand. Things have gotten more complicated with your mother since you found out about us, right? I'm sorry, Henry, for everything. It hurts to see you so torn up like this. I would never hurt you or drag you along with me. If this is to be our farewell, then can I ask you one last favor? Could you keep my locket? I know this is selfish of me, but I'd like for you to have it. I'd be happy to know that it's safe with you. My heart will forever be yours, Henry. With love, always, Louis. Is it Luis? Is it Louis or Luis? I've been calling him Louis this whole time. So this was the true letter. A small warmth emanates from the paper, wrapping closely around its fingers. It's quiet and soothing. The fragment Hugo was searching for. I'm just gonna keep calling them Louis until I'm proven otherwise. Louis, I'm sorry. You were also a victim in all of this too. Please, if you can hear me, I need your help. Without warning, the sound of a click can be heard across the bedroom. As if something unlocked itself. The chest! Hugo turns his head towards the sound and sees the chest. Unlike the other furniture, its dark and rustic features have not been maintained well, left to rot on its own. Suddenly he stops at the sound of a voice, a sweet voice, whispering to him, beckoning him towards the fireplace. Come here, my dear, sweet boy. Go to the painting. There, mounted by the fireplace, is the painting of a beautiful woman floating on water. Her pale skin is incandescent, brilliantly prominent against the contrast to the dark, murky waters that keep her bound to the canvas. Hugo stares intensely at the picture. An emphatic sorrow swells within him, disarming his very senses and forcing him to inch closer, surrendering himself to the sweet song. Poor thing, how lonely you must feel. You are a lot like him, like Henry. As Hugo approaches closer and closer to the painting, and his mind screaming to run, he sees it. He can finally see beyond the facade that the lady portrays, for what the painting truly is. But don't worry. I can take away that sadness. A deformed creature, a mermaid, floats above the surface. The voice whispers. Large, hollow eyes stare back, boring deeply into his eyes. Her skin is melting, bleeding heavily. This black ichor as it gushes out from the canvas. Some of it starts to hit not only the floor, but Hugo as well. The black, viscous tar clings persistently onto him, unrelentless as they continue to pile up. And then he feels it. What drew him initially to this thing? A deep sense of longing rushes through him, snuffing out what little control he had left, finally embracing this nature. To come home. Take my hand. Without hesitation, Hugo reaches out his hand while his body leans in closer to the mermaid. She grabs and pulls him in. Not once looking back, he dives and follows after her, returning to nothing. Bad end. Beyond the painting. Oh, cool. I got an achievement, though. Load. Oh, I should have saved. Oh, I'm an idiot. I think this one is it. Don't go to the painting. No, stay focused, Hugo. I won't let it get to me. Preparing himself, he heads towards the chest and opens it. Inside, scrambled together are bunches of notebooks and small trinkets. Hugo continues to rummage through when he stumbles across an old newspaper article. Young man found dead by the lake. An unidentified young man was found on the morning of Elon Musk's son, 3 days prior to his death, according to the police. Ruled as a suicide, police have claimed that the troubled youth drowned himself. This certainly is a tragic loss, an unfortunate event indeed. XXX. Comments. No claim of his body has been made yet. Louis. By the corner of Hugo's eye, he spots a bright glint buried beneath the clutter. He reaches for it. A locket of brilliant gold shines unblemished, retaining a timeless luster. Inside it safeguards a picture of a young man with glasses smiling brightly. This must be the locket that he was talking about. Oh, so Louis is a dude. Okay, cool. It's so pretty. I'm surprised it still shines like this. And this picture, did he put this here? No, it must have been Henry. But why would he store it away like this? What should I do? I'll take the locket, it's a clue. I should probably hold on to this for now. Take it to him. Please. Louis? A gentle but distant plea echoes in Hugo's heart. Forgotten ache of yearning and regret grips him deeply. Feelings not of his own start to rise like small ripples on a pond. Wanting to be found again remembered. Don't worry, I'll bring it to him. I'll make sure of it. Hugo's about to put everything back to the chest when he feels a wet and cold sensation crawling up his leg. What? Water? A pool of water relentlessly spreads across the floor, already seeping to the chest. He pee-peed himself, little tinker boy. Dang it, no! Suddenly the lights shut off. Uh-oh. A scream is heard, followed by a myriad of shouts. He was about to call it to Noah, but he stops at the sight of pale feet before him. Grippers! For free? Anyways, looming over him stands a tall and ominous figure. His face is shrouded in complete darkness, devoid of any human emotion. It appears as a young man, but Hugo knows that it's far from it. No, this very thing is trying to imitate a human form. Trying to be human. Hugo could only stare back. Paralyzed with fear, he's forced to watch the horror as it slowly creeps toward him. It's just like before, the sensation of someone staring at him from within. Ooh. But this time it's drawing nearer, inching ever so closely. No words to call out to Colby or Noah. The words to call out to Colby or Noah fail to reach out. Lodged in his throat, he struggles in pain. With his breathing shallow, he tries to force his body to move. Then it stops. Looking down at Hugo, filled with nothing but malice and contempt, it speaks. Don't get in my way. All of a sudden, the door to the bedroom slams shut and the entity disappears. The tension from his body finally releases its agonizing grip, and he gasps desperately for air. His vision blurs and his breathing is haggard. He staggers towards the door. He yanks at the handle several times, but it's tightly jammed. Ugh. Noah! Colby! To his dismay, he's only greeted with silence at the other end of the door. Dang it! From a distance, he faintly hears the sound of Colby's relentless barking as he gets further away from the house. Hugo rushes towards the window, tries to pry open, but just like the door, a heavy force prevents him from doing so, like being underwater. His movement's slow and drawn out, as if being dragged down by that thing. This! Frantically looking around the room, he spots a nearby chair. Without a moment sooner, Hugo grabs the chair and starts to strike the window. Bit by bit, the window cracks get larger with each blow, blowing, spinning off smoke. What the heck is this thing made out of? Still trying to catch his breath, he musters all the strength he has left for a final blow. Damn, you just break already! Clearing out the remaining glass shards, Hugo peers his head out to see any railing he can grab hold of. However, he discovers instead that the wall adjacent is covered in ivy. Despite how heavy the rain has drastically become, he reaches out for it, grabbing a handful of the vines. Carefully, he climbs out of the window, gripping tightly and making sure he doesn't lose his footing. Yet to his luck, the patch of vines he clutches start to tear away from the wall. Out of desperation, he struggles to find his grip on another, but fails when his hands slip out of reach. Crap! Clamoring wildly, as he loses his grip on the ivy, he crash lands down onto a thicket of bushes. Air forced out of him, he heaves uncontrollably, trying to even out his breathing. But even that is laborious. Laborious. An immense pain spreads across not only his back, but his entire body. God, I'm getting too old for this. Until his body screams out in pain, he forces himself up. There's still time. I can do this. I have to do this. With staggering feet and haggard breathing, he makes his way to the place where it all started. To the lake, where this tragedy starts and ends. Oh, my bad. Lake? Finally entering the park, Hugo calls out to Kobe and Noah. Kobe, Noah, where are you? He hears faintly the sounds of barking and echoes of people yelling in the distance. He rushes toward the echoes, guiding him through the downpour. With his heart racing and blood rushing to his head, he finds his way to the lake. Drawing closer, he sees Nina giving chase to her grandfather. Unfortunately, she doesn't get too far as Noah stops her. Grandpa, stop! Grandpa! I can't yell in British, I'm sorry. Let me grow my grandpa, he's... No, Nina, it's dangerous, he'll get hurt too. I don't care, I don't want to lose anyone anymore. It's at that instant Noah trudges against the water, pursuing Nina's stand. Hugo? No, don't! Please fall deaf to his ears. Not even the whines and the worried cries of his partner could make him turn back. Determined, he forges ahead. Nearing the deep end of the lake, he sees Henry Mortimer gazing directly at the abyss. He looks even more frail and disheveled than before. It's as if all the life he's lived up until this point has begun to fray, draining every ounce of himself, and surrendering it all to the lake. Before Henry could lean in, Hugo reaches out and tugs at his arm. Mr. Mortimer, listen to me. Nothing is waiting for you down there, so please come back to the shore with me. Motionless and unresponsive, he stares deeply into the water. The haze over his eyes is still obscure and persistent. There are so many things we cannot afford to lose in our lives, and you're one of them. To Nina, you're all she has left. She needs you, Mr. Mortimer. Hugo felt it. A slight jolt from Henry's arm, as if stirred by the mention of Nina. He slowly turns to face Hugo. Nina. However, just as cruel and violent as a storm, Henry jerks back, wrenching his arm away from Hugo's hold on him. No. All of this is my fault. If only I got to Louis sooner, then none of this would have happened. He was waiting for me. Was patient with me. And yet for all this he's done, I chose my family over him. He's gone because I didn't pick him. Henry backs further away from the shoreline. Mr. Mortimer! His manic eyes never straying away from Hugo as he keeps his distance from him. Louis, I'm sorry. I was the one who dragged you into this. You deserve so much more. And I wished... Henry struggles over his words. He clasps tightly to his shirt, his throat dry and taut from all that he has bottled up. From all those repressed and silent years of just waiting. Waiting for this curse to finally take him. I had wished I'd gone with you that night, Louis. Sir, even if you still covet that wish, it wouldn't resolve anything. Not for you or Louis. I read what he wrote to you all those years ago. He understood if you didn't want to come see him. But the thing is, Mr. Mortimer, Louis never thought anything less of you. He said so in his letters to you. His letters. For the longest time, I wanted to believe he hated me for that. Resented me for that choice. Or at least I thought it was easier for him to think of me that way. How long has it been since I talked about him? It's been too long, sir. But that's why you don't have to shoulder all that pain by yourself anymore. We can talk about it. About you and Louis. All of it. Together. He extends not only his hand to him, but a promise. A promise that Henry had yearned for so long. A way to forgive himself. He hesitates at first. What fool believes in a deserved forgiveness? Such a thing doesn't exist. And yet, despite everything, Hugo still reaches out to him. To a stranger. Maybe he can be forgiven. Just as he was about to reach out for Hugo, a hand slithers around Henry's instead. It seems unnaturally. Its arms unnaturally contort around him, while its head perches on his shoulder. This thing, this Louis, is no longer pretending to be human. With piercing cold green eyes, it stares directly at Hugo, mocking him, cursing him, wishing nothing but despair. We can be saved. We can be forgiven. There is only one true way out of this. I will share with you the most happiest of endings. Before Hugo could reach out for Henry's hand, he disappears into the water. Mr. Mortimer! Without hearing the anguished cries and desperate pleas, Hugo dives after him into the abyss. Plunging into icy waters, Hugo feels shocks running rampant throughout his body. Life spikes continuously, piercing from his legs to the tips of his fingers. fiercely and unyielding. His chest tightens and his heart races and he begins to kick his legs, hoping whichever way he goes he'll find his way to Henry. Swimming deeper and deeper in, he sees faintly a figure slowly descending into the darkness. As he finally gets closer to Henry, a long, snake-like arms reach into the void and grab Hugo's neck, finally squeezing all the air from him. He tries desperately to wrench his hands away. With each struggle, Hugo's movements begin to weigh heavier and heavier. Louis! Where are you, Louis? It's looking for Louis. Digging deep into its coat pocket, he grasps tightly in his hand the locket that Henry kept in long forgotten. Ooh, that was a bit dry. Holding it out as it shines ever so brightly in the dark. Ah, there you are. It releases its grip on Hugo and instead reaches out for the locket. Taking this as a chance, he drops the chain and kicks it with all his might to grab Henry's arm. With his heart and body screaming in pain, he swims desperately to the surface. Almost there. I just have to... As the light from the surface begins to blur, Hugo makes one last attempt to reach for it. With limbs wearing and his energy spent, this is all he can do. Before he loses his consciousness, he notices a finger swimming towards him, getting closer and closer. It's Noah! And then everything fades to black. Drifting along with what feels like an endless sea, Hugo courses through wave after wave, not knowing where he's going or caring for that matter. All he knows is that he's tired. He's very, very tired. How long has it been since he's had a good night rest? It's been too long. Maybe I should take that rest now. I'd like that so much. I agree that you deserve it, but not here. I'm sorry for startling you. I just want to see you one last time before I go. Louis, you've done so much for me and Henry. I can't thank you enough. No worries. I want to thank you too for watching over me. And also, I want to apologize for my remarks from earlier. I really thought they had things figured out once I found you, but you know how that turned out for me. It's alright, really. After all this time, I didn't think anyone could hear me, especially Henry. Louis, I was worried about him for a long time. He always wanted to keep me away from his personal struggles, keep me safe from them. But I was too stubborn for my own good. Honestly, I don't regret it. Any of it. Even if I can no longer reach out to Henry. Fate weaved its thread back to you, our tangent, connecting us once more to this very moment. And for that, I am forever grateful to you, Hugo. You're welcome, Louis. From a far-off distance, Hugo hears a voice crying out to him, beckoning for him to return. Well, they're waiting for you. I guess they really are, huh? Take care, always, Hugo. You too, Louis. His eyes close and his senses still returning, he feels the constant tugs and licks of a certain bloodhound. Oh man, that's actually really sad, actually. Oh god. I'm a little sad. Ooh. Whining as he tries to wake up his partner. Hugo! He also hears another familiar voice, too annoyingly close for comfort. Eyes shot right open, he jerks up. Confused, Hugo looks around before he coughs up the remaining water in his lungs. Are you alright? Noah starts to pat his back while Colby continues to whine over to Hugo. What happened? Where's Mr. Mortimer? He's safe. So is Nina. They're both okay. The police and the ambulance should be arriving soon. Thank goodness. Is there more you have to say to me? Instead of thank goodness, I swear you don't listen to a damn word I say. I'm sorry, Noah. Exhausted, he lets out a sigh. He then continues to pat Hugo's back aggressively when someone approaches him. Detective Laurent? Oh, Nina. There's someone I want you to meet. Behind her stands an elderly man. Frail in stature, he timidly looks to the side pensively as he ponders to himself, my bad. Although his youth has long faded, his eyes are what catches Hugo's attention. They're no longer a piercing and vicious green. Only eyes just like Nina's. Hello, Mr. Mortimer. Detective. I never got the chance to say goodbye to him. I always thought about it every day. What if Louis lived on in this world? What if he stayed a little longer with me? It's because of that constant mindset I dragged everyone down. And I kept hurting not only me, but Nina especially. I was the one who kept hurting her, the one to blame for all this. But you, as someone I've never met, still went out of your way to save me. Not knowing my burdens or my faults. Thank you. Hugo reaches out to Henry and smiles brightly at him. It's my pleasure, sir. But before he lets go, Henry tugs at Hugo's hands one last time. I hope that someday you too will overcome it. The next day, 8 a.m. Well, good morning, Hugo. You're bright and early. Morning. With much fervor and haste, Hugo resumes writing on his notepad. Although by closer inspection, he looks like he's going to combust any minute. Are you writing up the report? Without looking up, Hugo responds back. Yep, for the most part. Still need to write yours, too. I will. Since I haven't gotten breakfast. But since I haven't had breakfast yet, and I don't like eating by myself... Let me guess. 2 is better than 1? Bingo! Wow, Hugo, you're really catching on. I'm so proud of you. Shut it, will you? I swear. If only I hadn't fallen off from the goddamn window, maybe my report would have been shorter. Before Noah could begin to cut the bacon, he paused at the mention of Hugo's report. Oh, yeah, by the way, mind telling me what happened to the Mortimer's window? I broke it. Well, that's too obvious. Well, that's obvious to me. What I don't understand is, why is it broken? You know how much it costs to repair a window like that? I know, it was really dumb of me. Sorry. Besides, told Mr. Mortimer about it before we left. Honestly, I was expecting an earful from him. Also the bill. And, surprisingly enough, he said it was okay. Lucky us, right? So what? You just called it a day after all that? Thank you so much, Mr. Mortimer. You broke it, you pay for it. Would you chill? Of course I'll pay for it. But each time I kept insisting, it just shrugged it off. So that we already went through a lot for them, so this was nothing in comparison. Ugh. You know what? He's right. After all that we went through, we deserve at least a nap. Before he could walk away, he stopped to see a familiar person walking towards his girlfriend, carrying something with her. Good morning, you two. Just barely a foot through the door, a certain bloodhound stirs up from his resting spot and makes his way towards Nina, tail uncontrollably wagging. Ah, good morning to you too, Colby. Nina scratches behind one of Colby's ears, making his right foot unconsciously move on its own, scratching an invisible but desirous spot for him. Good morning, Miss Nina. Morning. What brings you here this time around? Is everything alright with your grandfather? Yes, he's doing pretty well, actually. Even better than before. We talked so much last night, I barely slept at all. But honestly, it's been a while since I last spoke to him so freely like that. I hardly felt tired at all. It's wonderful to hear. Ah, but there's something else I wanted to ask the both of you for. To put it bluntly, I need your help. If you two aren't busy, I would like some company eating these. It's not a clear plastic bag or 2 boxes placed on top of one another. She opens the box on top and reveals a colorful array of neatly decorated donuts, all lined up perfectly. No cramped or squished spaces. A work of art in Hugo's eyes. Wow, so pretty. Donuts? They look so delicious! We're more than happy to eat these with you, Nina. There he goes again with his donuts. But, yes, please join us, Miss Nina. We're about to have our breakfast, too. Weren't we, Kuya? Always so brazen in front of others. You do make it exceptionally easy for me. Ugh. You both have such great chemistry with one another. On second thought, I'm way too tired for this. I'm going to have to apologize in advance for this, Nia. But truthfully, I've been running on last night's coffee, and I'm about to pass out any minute now. No worries. Honestly, I think a little break time sounds like what we all need right now. Thanks. Hugo puts down his pen and proceeds to head for the couch. Colby follows after him. Would you like to join us, Miss Nina? I would love to. I guess we save these for later then. My bad, he's not British. I guess we save these for later then? Yes, please do. Now come on, it's nap time. Noah sighs heavily before setting his food down on the desk. Then gestures Nina towards the sofa, in which she happily takes off and joins him. Oh! Ugh, I'm getting old. I mean, you are old. Shut it. This is really nice. Oh, good boy, Colby. Come here. Nina quietly coos at him and begins to scratch at the back of Colby's ears once more. Hugo leans a little closer to Noah, his voice above a whisper, close enough for Noah to only hear. You know, glad you came along yesterday. Oh, what's this? You're getting chummy with a meow? Call it chummy or whatever, but I don't really mean it. If you hadn't saved us back there. Look, I told you before. I'll be there whenever you get yourself into reckless shit. Besides, didn't you say this was nap time? Get some rest, you deserved it. You too. Calming silence filled the room as they basked under the morning glow. No big parties or celebrations. Just each other's company and sharing the small reward. A small and warm comfort. Good end. Case closed. That was so cute! I can't get over that. Oh, that was adorable. Oh, man. I loved it. Alright. We have like 2 more things to do, which is... What's the break room? Can I take a break room? What is this? Ooh. I can't get over that ending, bro. Achievements. Played Stillwater for the first time. Approached the painting. Ooh. Case closed. Saved Henry. Ooh, there's 3 more, actually. 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Huh. What are these 2? Well, now I want to get the other stuff. But that ending was so cute, man. That was so cute. I loved it. I loved it so much, man. Oh, man. Alright, let's go. Alright, what happens if we don't take the locket? Leave the locket. I think it's best to put it back for now. Hugo hears a distant, faint cry call out to him, pleading him to take the locket with him. Louis? Hugo's about to put everything back to the chest when he feels a wet and cold sensation crawling up his leg. Water? Okay, yeah, it's the same thing. But I think it happens when... Because we can't handle the locket, so it's something. Get ready for a very sad ending, fellas. This is going to be a very sad ending. I think we're either about to die. Both of us are about to die. About to get very sad, very sad, very sad. Turns to face Nina. We're just screwing by this door, Henry Jim. This is my fault. Very sad gay stuff. Very sad. Very sad. I've had enough. Louis is waiting for me. Oh, this is different, I think. He's waiting for me to come home. Before he could reach out for Henry's hand, he disappears into the water. Mr. Mortimer! Without hearing the anguished cries and desperate pleas, Hugo dives in after him, into the abyss. As he finally gets closer to Henry, long snake-like arms reach across the void and grab Hugo's neck, finally like squeezing all the hair out of him. He tries to desperately wrench its hands away. But with each struggle, Hugo's water filling into those lungs as his vision starts to blur. The cold numbness spreads. Tired and motionless, he watches as the abyss draws near, swallowing him, embracing him. Let's share this happy ending together. He feels nothing. His body weightless and floating for who knows how long. It's cold. So very, very cold. How long has it been since he felt this? This empty feeling of just not being here or anywhere. It's comforting and nostalgic. Maybe, just maybe, this isn't so bad after all. I think this is for the best. Oh no, it's far, far from over, Hugo. After all, you said so yourself. Seeing the things you do come with a price, right? Oh, what a hefty price isn't paid for your stupid little blunder. So get up, Hugo. We're far from having a happy ending. Hugo! Hugo's eyes shot right open, his vision disoriented and blur. He tries to focus on Noah's face. A violent tide bursts within him, and he coughs out the remaining water in his lungs. You feel Noah's hands rubbing against his back, anchoring him and checking to see if he's alright. But deep down, there's something far more concerning to worry about at this moment. Where's Mr. Mortimer? I'm sorry, Hugo. I tried going back to the water after I fetched you, but the paramedics stopped me. They told me it was too cold and dangerous to head back in. Oh, it can't be. I'm so sorry, Hugo. No, please, God, no. No, please, God, no. I can't help it not quote the office. He couldn't hear the rest of it. His body trembles as his hands clasp tightly together in a fervent prayer, wishing for a miracle to happen before them, to have Mr. Mortimer return to them, finally safe from harm. But for this silent wish, the small and glaringly impossible wish, no one would answer. There was no kindness in the sunrise, only the gut-wrenching wails of a woman by the shore, pleading to any god who can save her grandfather. But no matter how many would try to search through the water, they wouldn't be able to find him. For there was no one left to save anymore, just a washed-up, forgotten tale of a man and his mermaid. As Hugo tries to stifle his cry and soothe the lump lodged deeply in his throat, he hears it. A laugh, a cruel and heartless laugh, echoes from across the lake, mocking him, cursing him, a harrowing and merciless victory for this curse. A curse. It was a curse after all. Bad end. A Mermaid's Tale. Jeez. Okay, so what's the next thing? That's the next one is when, he doesn't take the case. That's the bad ending, right? Alright, let's start. Alright, yeah, this is it. Reject the case. Hugo cast his face downward to stare directly at the ground in front of him, unable to look at Nina. The burden, the solitude, the madness. Hugo knows all of it too intimately. He suffers the same conflicts that weigh heavily on her mind. And yet, in spite of this, it's too much for him. Like walking along a tightrope with the ground, void and unclear, vast and empty and dark. So very, very dark. No, I can still do it. We can still do this. Before I could respond, a distant voice, so charming, so terribly commanding, binds him at the spot. It's already too late for them, No, not here. A dull but yet distinct pulsating sound, so rhythmic in its tune, starts its maddening melody. From the top of his crown to the base of his skull, he feels it all present and daunting. Just let go. Let me help you. No, I can do it. If you would just let me. Snake-like hands wrapped around his head so tight, so closely, squeezing ever so tightly, they can't help but try to shut his eyes from the pain. Such a kind person you are, Hugo. Hugo tries to ground himself. He tries to remind himself to breathe. A sweet and beloved friend. To remember there are other people that care for him. The joy and warmth of their company. I wish you could have done the same for me. To remember that he is here and present. That he is useless. Hugo, hey, what's wrong? Tugging at Hugo's coat, Noah tries to catch his attention, but fails as he notices something amiss. Hugo? There is a despondent look on Hugo's face, his eyes distinctly shredded by deep haze as if lost in them. He won't budge. No matter how many times Noah tries to tug or shake him, he still will not respond. But for Hugo, he can hear everything. Like a paralysis he can't wake from. His body sits there, motionless, like detached from everything. Desperate and concerned, Noah turns to Nina and ushers in sincere apology. I'm sorry, Miss Nina, but I don't think we can help you at the moment. If you just come back a bit later, we can... No, it's fine. There won't be a next time. Hugo winces at her cold and blunt remark. No, wait, Miss Mortimer, please. Noah stands up abruptly from her seat. She wipes away the tears quickly from her reddened face with the sleeves of her coat and looks down. Once more, her tense and cold front like the meter returns to the forefront, already trying to forget and move on. Without so much as a word, she slightly bows her head towards them and walks out of the office, not once looking back. Bad end. Pulling strings. Is there another good end? Alright, played Stillwater for the first turn of the case, approached the painting, left the locket, saved Henry. What other two choices are there? So, this is... We turned down the case. We approached the painting. We left the locket. Wait, so is Hugo the fisherman? We saved Henry. It's like the true good ending. I can't get over them, man. They're so cute. This is a very good game. I am in love with this game. Help. Oh, cool. No, that's the good ending. Oh! What is this? It's already nightfall when Hugo and Colby arrive back home. Hugo, already too tuckered out from the remaining assorted mess he left behind for himself, lazily sheds off his coat and shoes while Colby heads straight towards his bed. Making his way through unloaded boxes and cramped spaces one by one, Hugo strips down his outside clothes and switches to a regular shirt and sweatpants he found lying around. He plops down on the couch with his head laid back and his eyes closed as he lets out a heavy sigh, releasing all the tension left his body. Oh, that's a... Another day ain't gone, right, Colby? Beside him, he hears faintly the rhythmic, delayed breath of his large companion, who is already falling deeper into sleep. Wish I could sleep quickly like you, buddy. He gently pats Colby's head. Good night, Colby. Thanks for today. Hugo does one final stretch before he repositions himself to lie down on the couch, tugging at the blanket by his feet and wrapping it around him. His body begins to relax, his breathing falls into a similar cadence, finally allowing the warmth to gather and hug him into a closely, all snug and safe from the draft by his window. As he begins to slowly drift further and further off to slumber, he feels something. A slight chill, rising just above the base of his neck, never touching, but distinctly present all the time. Those senses are too dull and lax to properly focus on the sensation. He does, however, huddle close to the blanket, hoping the chill will go away. Suddenly hears the front door to his flat shut so sharply, so harshly. Is as if something had rushed in with enough force. They felt the room had shaken a little. Oh! Now, Hugo is wide awake. He tries to get up and face this intruder head on, but stops to realize one terrifying thing. He can't move at all. The warmth and comfort from the blanket he felt moments ago ceases to be. His own body, locked in a deep slumber, leaving behind his very consciousness, to be fully awake, to be deathly afraid of this overwhelming presence. He struggles to move the muscles in his face, trying desperately to call out to his partner, to get his attention. Colby. But despite his efforts in uttering his dear companion's name, he is met with no response. In fact, he can't hear or feel Colby anywhere near him. Just the raging and erratic tempo of his heart drumming in his ears as he lies there defenseless, vulnerable, all at the mercy of this thing. Then he hears it. The sound of feet dragging across the wooden floorboards. Dragging closer, closer, towards him. No, not again. He wants to run. Run far, far away from here. Run till he feels the fiery tempest within him burn his lungs, leaving him scorched and choking on ash. Anywhere but here. He shuts his eyes tightly and begins to steady his uneven breathing, hoping that whatever this nightmare is, he can wait from it. He has to. However, everything comes to a halt when he suddenly feels that same chill once more, this time lingering all over his back, persistently hovering over him. He knows it's there, standing near to him. It's unbearable. His breath hitches as he feels this intense prickling feeling. A hand, hovering so closely above his head he could feel it. He wants to cower, to hide forever away, but he can't. This frightening thing that's been following him, stalking him, haunting him for years, will not rest until he gives in. His own curse. All of a sudden, his phone rings. Like a spell lifted off of him. He can move again. Hugo's eyes darted straight in the direction where the presence should be, hoping to chance a peek, just a glance at the thing that hunts him. But there stood no one. Only the moon's shine reflected from the window's shades piercing through the shadow. His eyes shot once again at Colby where where Colby should be, and he found his bloodhound to be there, alert by the sudden ringing of his phone, and also at Hugo, who looks more disheveled and winded out. He takes a deep breath, steadying his heart as he takes the phone in his hand and answers. Hugo, I'm so sorry to call you this late at night. I forgot to ask you about the festival that's coming up in a few weeks. I was wondering if you would like to come with me. I know you say you don't really care for outdoor stuff, but I promised you it's gonna be fun. Hugo? You there? Yeah, sorry, no, I'm here. I just, guess that's a no, right? No. Oh, I mean no to your no. I'm sorry, I'm a mess. What I meant to say was yes, I would like to go with you to the festival. Wow, a bit surprised, but happy nonetheless. I don't want to keep you from your hard-earned rest, so I'm gonna end the call. Wait, no, Hugo? Are you alright? Can you stay a little longer on the line with me? We can talk about anything. I just, need company right now. Of course, Hugo. I can stay on the line with you. Thank you. No. You know what I was thinking about? A dangerous pastime for sure. I was thinking maybe we should just move in together. And now you're back to your brazen self. Wonderful. What? Doesn't it sound like a perfect plan? I can cook. Hobie loved me. And I'm good looking. See? Perfect package all in one. Haha. You really don't want to quit, do you, huh? Nope, not at all. I can be quite stubborn, remember? Without a doubt, the most stubborn man ever. There was a momentary silence between them before the pair fell into a fit of laughter, filling the room with this warm and bright feeling. They're so cute! Hugo melts back to the warmth of his blanket, letting the heat pool once more around him, surrounding him, protecting him, to remind him that he is here with people who love and accept him all the same. A reminder, a comfort in the darkest night. True end, in the dead of night. To be continued. To be continued? There's gonna be a Stillwater 2? Dude! I think they said on the itch.io page that there's like a sequel in development. Bro. They're so cute. I love them. Alright, let's check. Playing string turned on the case. Memories logging case. In the dead of night received a call. Thank you for playing. Oh! I got everything! Cool. Oh, that's so sweet. This is such a good game, man. Oh, I love it. But anyways, folks, that was Stillwater. Hope you enjoyed as much as I did. I did. A little bit. Not a little bit, a lot. I loved this game, and I'm going to be playing the sequel absolutely when it comes out. Please download this game. Donate. Show the devs some love, because this is a beautiful, beautiful game. Beautiful art style. Beautiful everything. The story is amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it. Horror even got me on edge a couple times. Nearly caused me to, like, have a tearjerker or two, you know? It's a good game. It's a great game. I love it. Support the devs, okay? Support the devs. Support everything. Love them. Love them. And, yeah, I guess that's it. Love this game. Can't wait for the sequel. And, ship Hugoa for clear skin. And, adios.